Aquarius sexuality. Well, Aquarius on its own, the sign on its own, is not the most highly sexed up sign, unless the person has some Scorpio, some Taurus, Sagittarius, Aries, one of the more sexualized signs. Aquarius on itself is a bit more androgynous sign. So for them, you can feel a lot of detachment from them when it comes to sex. And these people, while they're making love, they can detach and just observe themselves from above almost, or detach themselves from emotions and the act of doing it. So they can feel sometimes cold when it comes to the intimate sexual relationships. And they can also be drawn, say if you see a man with Venus in Aquarius, he can be drawn to a woman who is a bit like that, detached, who is unavailable, but maybe who is gone a bit more, who travels a bit more, who gets up after sex and says, oh honey, I have to go, rather than bonding and kissing all the time and just, cuddling all the time. So there might be this aloofness coming a little bit from them when it comes to sexual things. And actually, it's interesting that a lot of porn actors and actresses have strong strong Aquarius influences their horoscope, like Mars in Aquarius often, or Venus in Aquarius, because they can detach from the act of the sex. And in order to be a porn actor, you need to do that, And actually, Aquarius is the most progressive sign, so you can see them doing some of the most extreme things that other signs will consider, whoa, horrifying, like group sex, or I'm not saying about sexual perversities, like I'm not going to even mention them, but things that others might not be very comfortable with, like open relationships, or more permissiveness in relationships, experimenting with different things. And Aquarius will do it not because they're so highly sexed up, but because they're progressive, because they kind of want to move ahead with time and to be open-minded, and they don't want to be considered, like horse with blinkers. And they usually are not, they're kind of futuristic. And that's another thing that can turn them on a lot. Having sex through the internet, through any kind of devices and gadgets, because of this kind of detachment that it gives as well. So they can be some of the best internet lovers. They can be some of the best virtual lovers or phone lovers. And if you have someone with Aquarius planets, it's good to send them from time to time kind of sexy messages and dirty messages, because again, this distance that Aquarius requires that Aquarius represents is very stimulating for Aquarius, for people with Aquarian energy. Also, mentally stimulate them mentally, and they'll feel very much more attached to you. They'll feel much more sexually turned on by you after a lovely conversation, after a lovely debate, discussion, and the eccentricity, because Aquarius is found to be very eccentric by many others, is due only to the fact that they're very progressive and very open-minded when it comes to sex, so or anything else for that matter. And also make sure you give them freedom and you give them more space after the act itself, and in relationship generally, and they'll keep coming to you. Aquarius is an extremely loyal sign. Even if it doesn't feel so affectionate a lot of times, or if it feels a bit more distant and detached when it comes to sex, it's extremely when it gets used to something, it will stay with you. And especially if they feel like you have similar goals, like you have like-minded ideas. And it's funny, I'm not talking so much about sex here, but for them, sex is more in the mind, is more somehow, if you stimulate this part of them, they would feel, they'll be much longer there for you. And the area which really turns on Aquarius is the ankles, beautiful, fine ankles with slim legs at the bottom, this is what will attract them. And you can somehow enhance this part of your attire, with, for instance, they would love seeing women on high heels, because then the ankle becomes elongated, and this part of the leg, where is the angle from the knee to the feet itself, it's very attractive for Aquarius, for people who have Aquarius. And women who have Aquarius strong in their horoscope as well, say Venus in Aquarius, she can have very beautifully pronounced and very beautifully shape this part of her body, and and other Aquarius would feel quite attracted to that. Uh, and as we said, they're very loyal. They can be with the same partner of a long time of period as long as you give them freedom. And detachment is something that turns them on, and intellectuality is something that turns them on, and they can experiment and do anything as long as you know, anything which others might feel a bit too extreme with is part of something that they can do. Anyway. Uh, Sorry, I'm zonking out there. But yes, if you have anything more to add about Aquarius sexuality, please add it, because I don't know too many people with Aquarius and I haven't observed them so well, but this is what I've noticed mostly for them. So please add a bit more, because I'm sure there's lots of depth about Aquarius which I haven't mentioned.